In the grand assembly hall of Aoyama Elite Academy, the air was thick with curiosity and the scent of old money.
To my biological son, Ryusei Honda, I bequeath the entirety of this academy and all its assets.
That can't be right. The janitor's kid? He's nothing but a charity case.
A wave of gasps swept through the student body as every face turned toward the back of the hall. Ryusei sat frozen, the sealed envelope thrust into his hands as if it were a live grenade.
Please, young master, come to the stage and accept your inheritance.
This is absurd! He's a nobody!
But the janitor, Kenta Honda, standing by the exit, could only press a fist to his chest as tears traced the lines of his face. To understand the impossible path that led here, we must rewind 6 years. To a time when Ryusei Honda was known by a different name, Trash Bag Boy. 6 years earlier, a thin boy with ink-black hair entered Aoyama Elite Academy. His uniform was new, but his shoes were second-hand, and his eyes carried a weight no child should bear.
Look, the janitor's son. Mother says they only let him in to scrub the toilets.
Hey, janitor's brat. You know tuition here costs more than your dad will earn in a lifetime, right?
Dad's words echoed in my head. Never cause trouble. Just endure. For your future.
Before he could sit, a foot clad in Italian leather stomped his worn shoe, grinding the cheap fabric into the polished floor.
Oh, sorry. Your shoe was in my way. Do try to keep your belongings to yourself, darling.
Across the school, his father wrung out a mop, his back bent, careful never to drip on a student's uniform. At the front, the teacher turned a page of his textbook, oblivious, or willfully so.
By the end of the week, everyone will know your name, and it won't be Honda.
I won't give them anything. I'll be a stone. Someday, none of this will matter.
2 days later, Renji and his crew cornered Ryusei in the empty hallway between classes.
Here, take this. It's trash, just like you. Be useful for once.
Throw it out for him, trash bag boy. Or better yet, eat it.
Before Ryusei could react, they shoved him into the janitor's supply closet. The lock clicked shut with finality.
Dad said endurance is strength. But right now, I feel weaker than the mops around me.
Hours passed. The bell rang. Students filtered out, but no one opened the door.
If I scream, I give them exactly what they want. If I stay quiet, I might never leave this closet.
Eventually, a custodian's key rattled in the lock. Ryusei stumbled out into the empty hallway, blinking in the harsh fluorescent light.
Look who's out. Smells like bleach. You belong in there, janitor's boy. Remember that.
One day I'll step out of this closet for good, and everyone will see.
6 years dissolved the frightened boy into a stoic 17-year-old, but the halls of Aoyama never softened. One afternoon, cold liquid splashed down his only good shirt. Renji's laugh echoed behind him.
Oops! Guess that stain matches your shoes, trash bag boy.
After classes, Kenta handed him a dry towel without a word. His eyes held a familiar, patient ache.
Dad, why can't we just leave? I'm tired of being invisible except as a joke.
This academy is your future, Ryusei. We must not disgrace this opportunity.
The next morning, the PA system announced Headmistress Honda's sudden death. A mandatory will reading was scheduled. That night, in their cramped apartment, Ryusei found his father staring at a photograph, a young woman with kind, haunting eyes.
Dad, did you know her? The headmistress. She has our surname.
Get some sleep. Tomorrow, things will change.
By mid-morning, the entire student body had crowded into the assembly hall. The stage was solemn, draped in black.
I will now read Madame Honda's last testament. Treat her words with respect.
To the Historical Society, my rare texts. To my nephew, the antique tea set.
Tea sets? Books? All this for a boring old woman's junk.
Dad's warning echoes. Why did he look so haunted last night?
To the faculty, funds for library renovations. May knowledge forever guide this academy.
She really had no one, huh? No wonder she hid in that mansion like a ghost.
And now, the final bequest. I must ask for absolute silence.
Every breath in the hall stopped. Even Renji's smirk flickered, just for an instant. And the lawyer leaned toward the microphone, his next words ready to detonate their world.
The Academy goes not to a charity, but to her blood. Ryusei Honda, step forward and claim your legacy.
The hall erupted. 300 students spun in their seats, a hurricane of whispers and cries. Before Ryusei could speak, the lawyer descended the dais and placed a sealed envelope in his hands.
Come, young master. The Academy awaits its new owner.
My legs moved on their own, carrying me toward a future I never dreamed existed.
With a crack, the red seal fell away, and the truth spilled into the light. The birth certificate read, Mother, Madam Honda. The attached letter began, I am your mother, and I gave you to Kenta not out of shame, but out of love.
She didn't abandon me. But wait, Kenta isn't my real father?
In the back, Kenta wept with a sorrow that had nothing to do with joy. The title was his. But now a darker question burned. Who am I really? The lawyer's handshake was firm, his eyes holding a respect a lifetime of humiliation had never prepared Ryusei for.
Ryusei Honda, your mother inherited this ground, built this legacy. She entrusted it to you.
How? I've called him trash for 6 years. He can't just flip a switch and become royalty.
If that boy knows anything about what Renji did, the scandal could unseat us from every business deal.
At the very back, Kenta pressed his palms flat, tears seeping through the cracks of his fingers, his chest hitched with a secret sorrow.
The man who raised me stands there crying. But these aren't proud tears. Something is broken.
I need to reach out to the law firm before the students spill everything. Damage control.
This is a joke. My father won't bow to the janitor's brat running the academy.
The board meeting is set for Monday. You'll need to review the estate inventory before then, young master.
The envelope answered one question, but created 100 more. And the one I trusted most is hiding something.
A staff member guided Ryusei into a quiet office, the weight of the academy pressing down with every glance at the envelope. My dearest Ryusei, if you are reading this, I am gone. Know that you were never unwanted. I was forced into a political marriage to save my family name. You were the child of a brief love, one that could not be. I gave you to Kenta, my dearest friend, because he promised to love you as his own. He is not your true father, but he chose to be when no one else would.
Chose me? Why would a man who isn't my blood sacrifice everything? Unless his debt to my mother was more than friendship.
I watched you from the window of my office whenever I could, a boy with his father's quiet grace. Forgive me for hiding behind the Honda name. I was a coward.
She knew me as the cleaner's kid, yet never spoke. And Dad, he's kept this from me my whole life.
The academy is yours now, but I pray you will one day understand why I chose the man who mopped its floors to raise my son.
I have the academy, but every adult in my life chose to lie. Kenta owes me the truth.
The letter slipped from his fingers, but his jaw hardened. The lies would end tonight.
I won't be tossed between secrets anymore. Kenta will tell me everything, or I'll find the answers myself.
1 week later, Ryusei faced the board of trustees in the headmistress's grand office.
I decline the family estate. Kenta Honda continues as janitor. I will finish the school year as a student.
The decision tore through the academy like a silent shockwave, leaving staff and students bewildered.
If they expect me to wear my mother's ring and sneer, they never knew me at all.
He's not moving? That means he plans to stay close. Every board member will remember what my son did. You will apologize publicly to Ryusei Honda, on your knees if necessary. Our family's reputation cannot take this hit.
But apologize for what? I only gave him what everyone else thought he deserved.
Dad, I won't grovel to the janitor's brat. This is humiliating.
In living rooms across the elite, scripts were drafted, emotions crushed, and insincere smiles rehearsed. The academy set a date for a formal apology assembly. A stage built not for truth, but for panic. 3 days later, the assembly hall was full again, not with mourners, but with a captive audience waiting for a scripted show.
I apologize for any discomfort I may have caused Ryusei Honda. It was a misunderstanding.
I deeply regret my regrettable words. I hope we can move forward in harmony.
Yeah, sorry, what I did was wrong, I guess.
These aren't apologies. They're insurance policies. Not one of them can look me in the eye.
Just say it and be done. Every second this drags on, my stocks sink lower.
The final scripted line faded, and the entire hall turned to Ryusei. All sound vanished. Ryusei rose from his seat, his footsteps the only sound as he walked toward the stage.
6 years of silence. Now the mic is mine.
He stepped to the podium, wrapped his fingers around the microphone, and faced the demons of his past.
You stand here reading words your fathers wrote. Not a single one of you chose to be here. You're not sorry. You're sorry you got caught. There's a world of difference.
A choked silence swallowed the hall. Mr. Takahashi's face drained of color as the political shield he'd built collapsed in real time.
6 years of spit and bleach. Did you think a piece of paper would erase that?
He didn't wait for an answer. The boy who once lived in closets turned his back on the stage and walked away.
He just walked away. Like we're nothing. Like he owns the very air.
This will destroy us. He's not just the owner, he's untouchable, and I've made my son his target.
The parents' desperate plan shattered. Ryusei Honda had buried the script and left them in the rubble.
I don't need their remorse. I need to know why the man who raised me is still a stranger.
And the only truth that mattered now was waiting in a small janitor's office, behind a mop bucket and a lifetime of silence. Mr. Takahashi insisted on a private word. In his wood-paneled study, the air was thicker than the leather-bound books on his shelves.
You humiliated my family. Do you think a school title will protect you from what I can do?
I don't need protection. Your threats are as empty as your son's apology.
Then we'll both learn how empty my threats really are. This isn't over, Honda.
Ryusei left him pacing in the dim light, the door closing on a man whose power had finally met its limit. When evening bled into the school halls, Ryusei stood at the janitor's office, a place that smelled like home and lies.
You were always her eyes. I told her you'd be strong.
Kenta looked up too late. The album lay open, a photograph of 2 young lovers by the sea slipping from its page.
I've seen that album a dozen times, but he always closed it before I could look. No more.
Ryusei didn't speak. He turned away, leaving his father alone with the ghosts he refused to share. The Honda estate loomed beyond a rusted gate, its windows like shuttered eyes, untouched since the headmistress breathed her last. Dust danced in the dim light as Ryusei stepped inside. Sheets covered furniture, but a corridor of portraits pulled him forward. Among the paintings, a portrait stopped his breath. Young Madame Honda, laughing, and beside her Kenta, arm around her shoulder, their faces bright with a love that had no future.
They weren't just friends. He looked at her the way a man looks at his entire world.
A wedding photograph lay on a dusty table, the bride in a beautiful kimono, but the groom's face was torn away, leaving only shadow. In a drawer, a letter tied with a faded ribbon, the words to Kenta written in a careful feminine hand. My dearest Kenta, I cannot marry you. My family has chosen another. But I beg you, raise this child as your own. He is the only part of me that will ever be free.
So Dad was her first love. He chose me not out of obligation, but because she asked him to.
A separate slip of paper, clinical and cold, read, DNA analysis inconclusive. Biological paternity cannot be established. Ryusei folded the letter carefully. The mansion's ghosts had spoken. Now Kenta would have to finish the story. That night, the familiar creak of the apartment door felt heavier. Ryusei stood in the dim room, the letter in his hand.
Tell me the truth. All of it. No more hiding.
You found her letter. I knew this day would come. She was my first love, Ryusei. Her family forced her into a political marriage. She came to me pregnant by another man, desperate and alone. She begged me to raise you, to protect you. I didn't think I just said yes because that was the only piece of her I could ever have. I am not your biological father. The DNA test years ago made that clear. But I chose you, Ryusei, every single day.
So I'm not your son. I'm just a promise you made to a dead woman.
You are my son in every way that matters. Blood means nothing next to the nights I held you, the lunches I packed, the pride I felt watching you endure.
Right now, blood is all I have left to hold on to. I don't know who I am.
The door slammed behind him, and Kenta was left alone, the echo of his son's footsteps drowning out the quiet sound of a suitcase being opened. Ryusei walked until the streetlights faded, then found himself in the silent school hallway outside the janitor's closet.
I used to dream of being free from that door. Now I'm free, and I'm still trapped in a different dark.
A hesitant footstep broke the quiet. Renji stood a few meters away, hands shoved deep in his pockets, his usual smirk nowhere to be seen.
I saw the light on. Didn't expect you here. I couldn't sleep either.
What do you want, Renji? Another apology to practice?
My father's been screaming at me for days, told me I ruined the family, that I'm a disgrace. He never asked why I did it. He just wanted me to fix his reputation.
He's not just a bully. He's a coward, molded by a tyrant. But that doesn't excuse what he did.
I know I can't take back what I did, but maybe we're both just sons of men who decided our lives for us.
Ryusei didn't answer, but he didn't walk away either. The closet door remained closed, but for a moment, the air between them cracked open. Morning pushed through the estate's dusty curtains. Ryusei returned to search once more, and beneath a loose floorboard he found a final envelope. My Ryusei, I watched you from afar. I left you my name but could not give you my heart. Forgive me. Kenta gave up his own chance at love to be your shield. He chose you. Cherish that above all.
He didn't take me out of pity. He gave everything to keep her promise alive.
The apartment door swung open. Ryusei's breath caught. His father stood beside an old suitcase, his shoulders hunched in defeat.
Don't go. I was wrong. I was so wrong.
Ryusei, I was going to leave so you could have the life you deserved without a janitor's shadow.
You are my real father. Not because of blood, but because you chose me every single day.
My son, my true son.
Father and son sank to the floor, holding each other, the weight of 17 years washing away in shared tears. 3 days later, Ryusei faced the assembly hall once more, but now cameras replaced the old banners.
I am Ryusei Honda. The academy is mine, but my name was given by Kenta Honda, who mopped these floors. He is my father by choice, not by blood, and he will be honored from this day forward.
In the back, Kenta's hand covered his mouth, a quiet sob escaping as his son's words washed over him.
The scholarship system changes today. It will be based on merit, work, and character, not family fortune. I want students who understand the weight of a mop, the dignity of labor. That is the legacy I will build.
He stepped back, his speech done. The applause was hesitant, but Kenta's tears were not. Mr. Takahashi's face paled in the audience. The old hierarchy had just been dismantled. Ryusei met his father at the side door. Together, they walked out into the sunlight. The boy once locked in a closet now held the keys, and the janitor who chose him held his heart. In the weeks that followed the press conference, the academy's corridors began to shift, not in marble but in manners. Students from modest backgrounds applied under the new scholarship program, their eyes bright with a hope once forbidden within these walls.
I applied for the maintenance internship. I need to learn what my hands can actually do, not what my name can buy.
Then you'll learn more than your father ever taught you.
Mr. Takahashi watched from his office window, his empire of influence crumbling into something quieter and smaller.
You won't need the coveralls anymore, Dad, but I know you'll keep them in your locker.
Maybe just for the memories. This place doesn't smell like floor wax without them.
The closet where he'd once been trapped was converted into a small study room, a space for any student in need of quiet and refuge. Ryusei Honda had reclaimed his name, but he knew that the man who gave it to him had built its meaning with every quiet mop stroke. And in the quiet, the janitor's son understood. Inheritance is not what you're given, it's what you choose to keep. On graduation day, the assembly hall filled not with nervous whispers, but with a quiet, earned pride. Banners honoring merit and character replaced the old crests.
6 years ago, I walked into this hall as a charity case. Today I leave as your owner and as living proof that birth is coincidence, but choice is destiny.
In the front row, Kenta Honda wore a simple suit, his coveralls folded in a box beneath his chair. He didn't wipe the tears this time.
My real inheritance wasn't this academy. It was a man who chose to be my father. Kenta Honda, please stand.
The hall rose in a wave of applause. Kenta stood slowly, his hand pressed to his heart, his gaze locked with his son's. Ryusei stepped off the stage and walked down the aisle, not as the heir, but as a son coming home.
You told me to endure, and I did. You told me to hope, and now I do. You are my father by choice and by love.
And you, Ryusei, made every floor I ever mopped feel like sacred ground. I am proud of you.
They embraced in the center of the hall, father and son, while the applause thundered, a sound that finally drowned out every whisper of trash bag boy. And so, the janitor's son stood not on a stage, but on the foundation of a chosen love, the only inheritance that ever truly mattered. A year later, the academy halls welcomed students from every background. The old crests were gone, replaced by a single word: choice.
Funny! I used to make you pick up trash. Now I'm the one on my knees.
You're learning what it means to earn something. That's more than your father's money ever gave you.
In the newly christened Kenta Honda Support Staff Wing, the former janitor now mentored a team of students. But every evening, they still sat in that cramped office, now filled with plants and a second chair.
I never dreamed I'd see you up there, speaking to the world. I only hoped you'd survive.
I survived because you showed me that love isn't a debt. It's a decision. You decided every day.
They walked into the courtyard, where cherry blossoms fell on students untouched by the old taunts. The past could never be erased, but it had been reclaimed, not through revenge, but through the quiet force of a chosen love. And in the quiet of the evening, Ryusei knew the inheritance was never the school, it was the man who chose to stay. One evening, in a corner of the academy's new memorial garden, Ryusei placed a framed photograph beside a freshly planted sakura tree. Inside the frame, a young Kenta and Madam smiled forever, a love that never bloomed but planted a forest. Kenta watched from a bench nearby, his hands resting on his knees, a quiet peace on his face that had taken a lifetime to earn.
They couldn't be together, but they gave me a family anyway. That's the kind of love I want to build here.
They already did, son. They already did.
Ryusei sat beside him. Neither spoke. The wind rustled the petals, carrying new seeds into the soil. In the distance, the academy's new sign hung under the old bell tower. Not the Honda crest, but a simple inscription, born of choice, built on purpose. The janitor's son had ended more than his own suffering. He had redefined what it meant to inherit. Kenta's quiet answer hung in the air, the only truth that ever mattered. Blood is an accident. Love is a choice. Later, when the memorial garden's shadows lengthened, Ryusei helped his father to his feet. There was no hurry in their steps. The academy's lights flickered on one by one, but they didn't look back. A janitor and his heir walking into the same quiet night. In their small apartment, Kenta poured tea while Ryusei set the table, a routine older than any inheritance. Ryusei glanced at the old photograph now framed on the shelf, beside a new one, the two of them at graduation, holding the academy keys.
Every day he chose me. And every day since the truth, I've chosen him back. That's the only legacy that matters.
Outside the window, the bell tower stood against the stars, its new inscription unreadable in the dark, but its meaning lit the town. Ioma Elite Academy no longer belonged to the wealthy. It belonged to the willing. And in its halls, the story of the janitor's son was not a tale of revenge, but a quiet revolution of the heart. Somewhere in the distance, a mop bucket clattered, and for the first time, no one laughed. And the boy who was once trash bag boy smiled, because he knew the truth. The ones who choose you are the ones who stay.